Hey everybody, it's Wendy. Welcome. I'm so excited that you're here today. I have a really fun card for you. I made this card with fall in mind, and I needed to make some really special thank you cards for some people. So I'm going to use the Wondrous Wreath stamp set and vintage leaves, and then I have the coordinating framelits for the wreath, and then the greetings thinlits for my greeting. And we're going to be using the Misty tool, and I've got a piece of paper here, and I have all my vintage leaves already kind of placed where I want them on my Misty tool. Um, I love the Misty tool for stamping like this because I made a whole bunch of these cards. I needed to make a bunch of them, and it just goes so much faster when you have the Misty because you can just keep stamping over and over and over in the same spot. So it's just super handy to have. Um, so I have crumb cake cardstock here, and I just realized after I lined all that up that I needed to do my inking first and stamp off once before I did my stamping on my card. So I'm inking up with crumb cake ink, and I'm stamping off on my grid paper there that comes that you can purchase when you get the Misty. And then I'm lining my card base up at the 1 inch mark, and I'm stamping it again. So this just creates my leaves to be just a little bit lighter than they would if I would have stamped them full force, basically. So they're a little bit lighter than they would have been. Now, while I have this all out and set up, I'm gonna go ahead and stamp on my envelope because I think that stamping on your envelope just really is fun, and it adds some extra special pizzazz to your project. So I went ahead and stamped off once, and then I'm going to place my envelope in the at the 1 inch mark and stamp again, and I'll have all these cool leaf designs on my envelope. So that's really fun. And then I ended up doing brush lettering in Cajun Craze on the front of the envelopes to add some really beautiful interest to the envelopes. So I'm going to set that aside. And I have a piece of Delightful Dijon cardstock here, and I'm going to use this Wondrous Wreath to do my stamping. And I'm just going to lay it down, and I'm going to do some tone on tone stamping. So I have my Delightful Dijon ink pad, and I'm going to go ahead and ink up my wreath using that ink pad, and then I'm going to stamp it again using the next stamp in this set to create some darker leaves using Cajun Craze. Now you can see there's a little tab there sticking out of the top of the clear block, and that is how I know where I will line up my next stamp. They all have tabs on them, so that makes it really convenient for stamping and inking because you're able to see where you're stamping or where you should be lining up your images. So when I go to stamp these leaves over the top, I'll be able to line them up just right and stamp again, and it'll cover up the appropriate leaves that it's supposed to. So it's just really handy that this stamp set has the little tab on it. So now you can see it's just a really pretty fall leaf colors, and I use the Cajun Craze for that. And then I'm going to do my die cutting and use the Wondrous Wreath die cuts to cut this wreath out. So while I get going here cutting the wreath out, I just wanted to share, my daughter had a walkathon, and so she participated in the walkathon, and I asked a few people online, I actually posted on my Facebook page, if anybody wanted to donate to her walkathon, pledge her in the walkathon. And I had 4 people do that, and so I wanted to make them a really extra special thank you card that just had a little bit of extra glitz and glam to it, not just an average everyday card. So I tried to make something kind of on the more fancy side that had more intricate cuts and just had a lot of interest on it. So that's who these cards are for. And then I also made one, since I was busy making them, I stamped a whole bunch of these at once. And so since I was busy making them, I made one as well for my mother-in-law, who gave my husband and I a gift for our anniversary. And so I made her a thank you card. I guess I should say it was for my mother-in-law and my father-in-law because the gift was from both of them. But we all know that the women are the ones that do the gift giving. Are we right? So it's just the way it is. So I'm popping out all of this stuff from the die, and then I'm going to place it on top of some vellum. I decided to create a belly band for this card because I thought that would make it extra beautiful and extra special and just make it feel like almost a little bit regal. And so that was my goal. Okay, so I'm just getting this paper out here, and then we're going to move on to creating the belly band portion. So I have to say, I have struggled a little bit making fall cards because I've been trying to stick to using products from our Stampin' Up! Holiday catalog, and we actually don't have a ton of fall products in there. So I decided I was going to get out some of my stamp sets and items that weren't necessarily fall, but I could kind of turn into fall. The vintage leaves obviously are fall, but the Wondrous Wreath was really designed for Christmas. And so I really encourage you to look through your stamp sets and see what you can find that might work for other seasons and occasions. I'm really trying hard to learn how to do that and start focusing on that. So this piece of vellum is cut at 1.5 inches wide, and then I just left it 11 inches long, and I'm just wrapping it right around this crumb cake piece, which by the way is cut at 4 inches by 11 inches and then scored at the 5.5 mark. So it's a little bit thinner than your regular A2 size card. So I'm adding my wreath right to the top of the vellum, making sure that none of that adhesive sticks to the card. I don't want any of that adhesive on the card. So the next thing I wanted to show you is my Xyron machine. This thing is really cool, and I use these little framelits here to cut out the word thanks twice, and then I ran both of the thanks through my Xyron machine, which creates a sticker. So it makes the back of these little intricate die cuts a sticker. I got this on Amazon, and the link will be on my blog. So the link is in the description below of all my supplies. And so you can go to my blog if you want to get your hands on one of these Xyron machines, because it really makes putting little intricate dies down super easy. As you can see, there's adhesive on the back of that, and I just laid it right down. And then I'm going to stack this one right on top of the other one because I wanted there to be a little bit of dimension in this word die. So I'm laying that down and just pushing it down to make sure it's all adhered really well. And then I'm going to do the fun stuff. So I have a bunch of different sequins. This is only a small fraction of them. This sequin set is from Lucy's Little Things, the one that I'm getting into right here, and it's her champagne set, and I did link to that over on my website if you want to get your hands on these. They are kind of like a tarnished gold color. They're not like a shiny gold, if that makes any sense. So I went ahead and added a bunch of sequins and seed beads around this wreath because I felt like it needed that. It needed something else to make it look extra special. And so one of the things I really try to do when I'm trying to make an extra special card or do something like what I consider fancy, this for me this is fancy, is I finish my card base, which is kind of like basically my die cuts and everything you see here, and then I look at it and I think, okay, now what can I add to this card that's going to make it look super elegant or classy or extra stepped up without making it look tacky? Because it's pretty easy to add stuff and then end up in a situation where you've kind of made your card look tacky because you just keep adding things. So I'm very careful about that. And I'm kind of a clean and simple girl. If you followed me on YouTube for a while, you probably know that I tend to make clean and simple cards, which just means not a lot of busyness, a focal point, essentially. Most clean and simple cards have one focal point. They're not all over the place with stuff all over the card. So even this card, even though it's like a fancier card, it is what I would consider clean and simple because it's got one focal element that I continue to add stuff to make it really pretty, but it doesn't have stuff going on all over the place. So I hope that makes sense. So just cleaning up the sequins here, and I'm going to get them put away. And then one of the other things that I'm going to do is add some glossy accents to the top of the word thanks, because that is another way you can really add some beautiful elements to your cards. So I'm adding the seed beads now, and they're pretty simple to add. I'm using a quick stick. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these. I'm sure you have, but it's really cool. On the one end where it's green, it's got like this sticky, tacky stuff that comes out the end. And on the other end, it has like a pokey thing that you can actually pull out of the stick. And so you can use it almost like an extension of your fingers. And so I can stick the quick stick down inside this little container, and it will pick up individual little seed beads. The other thing that I'm using that you see here is my glossy accents. I put that in a little bottle with a needlepoint nose because it just absolutely makes your life so much better when you use your glossy accents than having it go all over the place. So I highly recommend having those little squeeze bottles with the little needlepoint nose. It makes things much, much easier. So I'm just continuing to add the little seed beads. They're kind of hard to see here in the video, but the photos, you definitely can see them better. This card in person is a really wow card. It really stands out, and you can definitely see the extra effort or time that was put into the card. Okay, so I'm trying to get this all finished up, and sequins and seed beads and stuff are such a pain in the neck. I don't know if you've used them very much, but they stick to your fingers and they roll all over the place and they just create a mess, and I hate that. It annoys me. So it's one of those things. I absolutely love sequins on my cards, but they're frustrating sometimes. Okay, so I'm going to use the glossy accents to cover the word thanks. And the fantastic thing about these bottles, you can get these bottles on Amazon, and they're super easy to use. They're really small, so they fit very comfortably in your hand, and you don't put a ton of product in them. So if you get a big bottle of glossy accents, you can just pour some of it out and put it in here, and then put your lid back on your glossy accents and store it away, and just get it out when you need it. So it's very, very handy. Okay, so I'm just finishing up getting the glossy accents placed all across this card, or the word thanks, and that'll finish up my card. And I've made a whole bunch of these. I made 10 of them. So they're really beautiful. They turned out great. I just really, really love them. And I was excited to get to send them in the mail. The other thing I wanted to share with you is I still have free card kits to give away for the month of October. You can see all those card kits over on my blog. I did provide a link. There's 3 of them. When you place a minimum of $50 purchase with me, you can get 3 free card kits. So I hope that you place an order with me. And if you already have, thank you very much. You probably got your card kits by now. And I hope you enjoyed this card and this video tutorial. This was such a fun card to make. I will be back tomorrow with a fun blog hop and another video. I won't be here Friday. So I'll see you guys again tomorrow, and I hope you have an amazing day. If you want to see more videos from me, you can click on either of the images that you see here, or either of the videos that you see here, and you'll be taken to that video. If you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, I would love that. Just click on the little circle face that has my face in it, and you'll be subscribed to my channel. Thanks so much for hanging out. Bye-bye.